After years, the Pokemon Company finally gave fans what they've been asking for, the long-awaited remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl. But did fans get what they wanted? And more importantly, did I get what I wanted? I don't know. Let's find out.
Stars and Stripes!
Hello and welcome to another Carrot Scraps video, and by another, I mean the 52nd. So let me start off with a little disclaimer. First of all, this is my very early feelings on this announcement. I literally just finished watching the stream with my Twitch chat, so my opinions are definitely subject to change. I did write a short script, but these are going to be very loose and improvisational feelings, so just keep that in mind. Secondly, this is going to be mostly me talking about my subjective feelings on aesthetics. Needless to say, I'm not dealing with hard facts here, and I'm sure plenty people liked what I disliked about this trailer, and I totally understand if that's the case. Again, aesthetics are totally up to people, so feel free to disagree with me. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk about Pokemon. What are they called? I gotta actually look up the name. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, let's talk about Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl. I am a huge Gen 4 fan. I'm in a constant debate with myself on whether I like Gen 4 or Gen 2 more. Both were super significant to me. Gen 2 is what really made me a Pokemon fan, but Gen 4 is what brought me back to the franchise after I took a hiatus. So both have like deep pits of nostalgia dug into my soul. What did I just say? And while I haven't necessarily been clamoring for the Gen 4 remakes, I also was ready whenever they were. Whenever Pokemon decided they were going to put them out, I was excited for it. Now today, Pokemon put out their 25th anniversary presentation stream, and they showcased the first footage of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl. And I hate to be this negative, but I really don't like the way the game looks. And I dislike it for several reasons, and I'll go into that right now. So first of all, I always say first of all, I'm sorry about that, but first of all, I want to say that I'm not against stylized video games. I mean, I'm a Nintendo fan. They do that. They're all about stylized. I think I've even said in a recent video that like I prefer stylized graphics to like photorealistic graphics. I want games to look interesting and unique. So my issues with the Diamond and Pearl remake are not with the idea that they're stylized. My problem is that I don't like the way that they are stylized. I mean, at base value, they are cute. Like the character designs, they're cute, but I hate to say it like this, but they look so amateur. I really don't like the way the world looks. I really don't like the way the characters look. And maybe this is because I have a preference for pixel art, but there are plenty of other stylized games that have a simplified and streamlined aesthetic that I actually really, really love. The first thing that comes to mind when I look at the way this remake looks is Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. If you're unfamiliar, that was the game that came out right before Sword and Shield, and it was supposed to hold us over until we got our first Nintendo Switch Pokemon game. And it was a remake of Pokemon Yellow, essentially. It also combined the gameplay of like Pokemon Go from like the mobile game and the main RPGs. But the art style was very simplified compared to Sword and Shield, and I really, really liked it. Honestly, I feel like Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu look better and more cohesive than Sword and Shield does. But I don't get cohesion when I look at this Diamond and Pearl remake. It looks unappealing to me. So that's the first part, is that I don't like the way it looks right off the bat. The second part is that judging from the footage, and again, keep in mind, I've only seen like, a couple of seconds, maybe a minute of gameplay footage, it looks identical to Diamond and Pearl. And when I say identical, I mean like, it looks like the same game, only with a new art style. And as I've just established, I don't like the new art style. So in essence, it looks like it's the same game, only it looks worse. So let me get a little bit more detailed about how I feel. So when Pokemon Alpha Ruby and Omega Sapphire, when Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out, they used the same engine or a similar engine that Pokemon X and Y had used previously. The game still looked different, and it still looked similar to its original origins, but you could tell it was a different game, and you could tell that it justified the purchase. It was a new experience, even though it was a remake. Now, it's possible that we're at this point with technology and with graphics and video games that it's difficult to remake a game from 2007 and still make it look impressive, if that makes sense. Like looking at Fire Red and Leaf Green compared to Red and Blue is a huge leap. Looking at Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire compared to Ruby and Sapphire is a gigantic leap. But looking at Diamond and Pearl versus Shiny Diamond and Omega Pearl, or whatever they're called, it doesn't look like there's a huge leap here. And yes, I'm talking about graphics, but when I talk about a huge leap, I'm also talking about the way the game plays. There doesn't look like any huge innovation is being added to this game to justify it being remade. All the previous Pokemon remakes weren't just graphical improvements, they also added story or mechanics to the game. So you really do get two different experiences depending on which version of the game you play. It doesn't look like there's a new experience being advertised to me. It looks like a polished experience. It is so disappointing to me to look at the gameplay and see the exact same game. It looks like the only new thing about the game is the graphics, is the aesthetic of the game. And that's super disappointing to me. And to be clear, I'm talking about the overworld graphics, not the in-battle graphics. The in-battle graphics are clearly updated, and they mostly look similar to previous games. But the overworld looks identical to the original game. I think, honestly, if the game looked different, I would be more comfortable with the fact that I didn't like the graphics. But the fact that the experience looks almost exactly the same makes the graphics that I dislike that much worse. For example, if they showed a trailer and the game looked exactly the same as the original, but the graphics looked more like Link's Awakening, that kind of claymation stop motion style, I would have been completely down for that kind of remake. Exactly the same game, but a drastically different art style. Now, I'm sure there are people who, don't have Diamond and Pearl or have never played Diamond and Pearl before. There's no way to get Diamond and Pearl and play it on a modern console. So, this, looking at it in a simplified way, like, that is what this remake is for. So I really shouldn't be scrutinizing it that much. And I think that's a fair point that, like, I shouldn't be complaining so much because there are people who literally cannot play this game and now they get to play, a modern version of it. Even if it's exactly the same, they get to play it. Think, Yakuza Kimiwa versus Yakuza, it just is a better looking version of the game, for the most part anyway. But for me, as like a longtime collector and a hardcore Pokemon fan, I can walk into the other room and grab like 5 copies of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, and it would look exactly the same as this brand new Pokemon game. And that's just super disappointing to me. As like a longtime fan, it doesn't look like I'm getting anything new other than new graphics that I don't like. Now, I'm kind of two minds here. I think either this is genuinely just the direction they wanted to take the game. They really wanted to give us a faithful adaptation of the original Diamond and Pearl when they remade it. They just wanted it to be, identical, and the people developing the game wanted to make the art style as similar to the original as possible. Or the other possibility is that the game that was solicited immediately after Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl had something to do with the way these remakes look. So immediately after the Gen 4 remakes were announced, we were told that we were going to get a brand new Pokemon game and a brand new Pokemon franchise that took place in the same region of Generation 4, the Sinnoh region. This game is called Pokemon Legends Arceus. And when they showed off that game, it looked, it looked more similar to Sword and Shield, but it looked more similar to Breath of the Wild. This game looks like an open world a Pokemon game. I think that's the assumption that they want you to make here. Now, it's possible that they started working on Legends Arceus, and maybe there was less of Game Freak and the Pokemon Company working on the Diamond and Pearl remake, and so simplifying the art style made sense for the smaller team, and simplifying the project made sense for the smaller team, so that way Legends Arceus could have more work put into it. I don't know, the intricacies of video game development or how these studios work, so I can't say that for sure, but I definitely do get that idea. And it's entirely possible that, Legends Arceus was solicited right after the Gen 4 remakes just for fun or just because they thought it would be cool. But I also do get the idea that they knew that fans weren't going to like the way that the Diamond and Pearl remake was going to look, and so they wanted to solicit a game that they knew would elicit a greater response or a more positive response immediately after. It reminds me of when Bethesda announced Fallout 76, a game that they knew that their core fan base wasn't going to like. They also announced that they were working on Starfield and The Elder Scrolls 6. And The Elder Scrolls 6 wouldn't be coming out for another 10 years. But they put that news out there because they knew that would soften the blow of a game that they wanted to put out, but they knew wouldn't get the most positive reception. Now, to be very clear, It is entirely possible that's not the case. It is probably most likely that that's not the case, but that's just how I felt when I saw this announcement immediately after the remakes. At the end of the day, I recognize, like, a remake is a remake. Why should I be expecting them to reinvent the wheel when it comes to making a remake? The whole point of a remake is just to update the graphics and make the game available again. But I guess I just had this idea that Pokemon remakes had a different philosophy to them. The precedent that Pokemon remakes have set in the past is that their remakes also represent innovation. And this doesn't look innovative. It doesn't look innovative in its graphics, in its storytelling, in the story it's trying to tell, or in the mechanics. And again, to be fair, we haven't seen much from the game yet. We've really just seen the graphics, so it's possible that the gameplay could be different, but this is what they chose to show to get me excited about the game. This is what they chose to show to sell the game. It just looks like the same exact game, only I don't like the graphics anymore. So as I was editing this video, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who wanted to talk about the Pokemon stream. And the reason why I came back to record and talk about that conversation is because they couldn't have a more different opinion than me. I had expressed that I was disappointed, and they didn't understand why. This announcement was everything that they wanted, apparently. They said that the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire remakes were too different than the originals, and that they liked that this was returning to form. Even saying that Let's Go and Sword and Shield was also too different. They had said that this is exactly what they've been asking for years, that they wanted a Pokemon game to return back to what they remember it being. And immediately their comments reminded me of Final Fantasy. So recently I started playing Octopath Traveler, and I've been looking up reviews, and I found out there's a community of people who really want Final Fantasy to be like the original 6 entries. Needless to say, after Final Fantasy VII, the franchise has been completely different. And obviously there's a huge community of fans who love the radically different games. But apparently there's also a community of fans who worship the original gameplay and wish that the franchise would be more like that. And Octopath Traveler looked like the promise of a return to form for Final Fantasy. And so I feel like my friend felt the exact same way about Pokemon. In a way, this is like the best Pokemon 25th anniversary metaphor, that the franchise has been going on for so long that there are multiple different types of fans who want different things from their new Pokemon games. Fans who don't mind and actively ask for change in the franchise, and fans who want games that resemble the roots of the series more accurately. And you know what? I think that's really awesome. I'm actually really happy that, from what I can tell, other people are very excited about this Diamond and Pearl remake, and that they love everything that I disliked about it. I started this video by saying that mostly my comments were going to be about aesthetics, and that aesthetics are subjective and everybody's going to have different opinions. And I mean that, and it makes me happy that I was able to talk to somebody who really, really loved the Diamond and Pearl announcement. And I hope that there's tons of other people who love this announcement as well. This doesn't change my opinion. I still feel the same way that I feel about this announcement. I'm still excited about the game, even though I'm disappointed. Hearing the little twinkle from the original Diamond and Pearl games at the start of the trailer was really exciting for me. I've heard that sound thousands of times, and it just triggered my nostalgia in a way I wasn't expecting. And not to mention, I'm super excited to hear the remastered music for these remakes. There's a lot that I'm excited about, even though I say that I'm disappointed. But I'm glad that I had that conversation, and I wanted to share that with you. Anyway, I want to end this video and stop being so negative. It's good to be critical of the things you love, but it's Pokemon's 25th anniversary, and we should be celebrating that. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. If for some reason you enjoyed this rambly video, don't forget to give it a like and to subscribe to my channel for more. If you want to watch me play video games live, check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/carrotscraps, and all my other social media, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram is at carrotscraps as well. I want to thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Let me take this call. Hello? I don't have a car. Why do you keep calling me? I've been getting these phone calls for years saying your car is in the shop. I don't own a car. I don't know how to drive. Leave me alone.